I'm going to walk you through the different Bitcoiner levels so you can see where you fit in to the typical Bitcoiner journey. Starting at the bottom, when you're first getting into Bitcoin, if you're brand new, most people usually hear about it through like the news, maybe a great bull run. You see Bitcoin everywhere when it's doing really great or if it's doing really terrible. Maybe you saw a meme, a friend or family member mentioned it, and if that's where you are, don't feel bad because everyone starts here. Everybody is a newbie at some point, right? Just like everything else. The way to start climbing and moving along this journey, the way to understand things is just to start asking questions. So you've got to ask, what is money? Why does Bitcoin exist? Why is it important? That's your next step upward and shifting from just hearing about it, hearing the noise, hearing lots of different things, to then shifting to curiosity. The next level is to have a basic understanding, and this is where you're letting your curiosity then start driving. This is where you're starting to Google Bitcoin. Maybe you buy a few dollars worth. You download an app like Coinbase and you start dollar cost averaging, or maybe you just buy a few bucks and see how it does. You'll start to think, okay, maybe I understand a little bit more. I actually own it. And to climb higher than this and to keep going along, you need to keep learning past this. I always suggest reading the Bitcoin Standard, and it's a really amazing book. I actually don't have it anymore because I gave a copy of it to someone that came to do some work at my house, shared it with them. So I do need to get another copy, but it's an incredible book that teaches you all about money, from the history and everything. It's a great read. Really, really recommend that. Also, listening to podcasts, following people who are challenging your thinking about how everything works, because this isn't just about price charts and getting rich quick. It's about understanding what you actually hold. If you're finding this interesting, please like and share this video, and then go ahead and hit subscribe. I am a new channel and would really love for you to join me along this journey. So now you have a basic understanding. You may have some Bitcoin already and you've got to hold on to it. This is where you start branching out and could easily get eaten alive. So maybe you panic sell during a crash, or you go through your altcoin phase. There's a really big saying out there that if everybody goes through their altcoin phase. Okay, I've done it. I don't think I've ever met anyone who hasn't done it. If you haven't, then you are great. Then you are lucky. Maybe you fall for a scam or something like that. But this is the stage that separates you from climbing higher. And to climb, you have to zoom out and stop looking for the next shiny thing. Study Bitcoin's history, study its cycles, and understand that every dip that has happened in the past it's been an opportunity. It hasn't ended. It wasn't a death sentence. It was just an opportunity for people to then buy more. Once you have survived all of those traps, of course you can still fall for them at any time. That can happen at any moment, but you will become a real hodler. And you're stacking sats regularly. You're holding through the ups and the downs, and you don't freak out when the price has this sudden drop, like 20% in a week or whatever happens. You don't freak out. You just know to expect it and accept it, and you're in for the long term. At this stage, the key to climbing further is to protect what you have. Get it off of exchanges, learn about cold storage. At this point, Bitcoin isn't just something that you are holding. It's a part of your lifestyle. It's how you live. And you can actually check out my other video on 5 things not to do after buying Bitcoin, and also 10 ways to protect your Bitcoin to help you through this stage. Climbing higher in this journey also means thinking bigger. So not just about you, not just about how much money you can make, but how much can your family make? How much can it impact your family? And you start to realize that Bitcoin is not just a get rich quick scheme. It's a tool, and it's a tool for generational wealth. And then comes resilience as well. So understanding your taxes, inheritance planning, how can you better protect your Bitcoin so you can move from not just looking at typical cold storage, but also multi-sig wallets, security practices, what are some best practices? And this is where you stop thinking, how do I just make money? You shift that to, how can I make sure that my kids and my grandkids can thrive, especially with where we are at with our economy and our world. It's a really scary place out there, and the financial system feels like it's going to snap at any second. So that is something that I find very important, is how is this going to affect my children and then their children as they're raising them and they're growing up. All right, you've made it, and you are now living on a Bitcoin standard. So finally you are at the top, and you really understand how money works. You understand Bitcoin, why it's important. You're holding it, you know it's secure. And these are the people who don't just hold Bitcoin, they actually live on it. They measure value in sats, not just dollars. And that may not necessarily mean that you're just out there living, spending your Bitcoin, not using fiat. That's not what I mean. It's that you understand that the price of Bitcoin does not matter because of the value that it holds. So you're not going to just be looking at that dollar value of Bitcoin, because it actually has a greater value than just comparing it against fiat. And I'm going to make a video later this week talking about that more. When you're at this stage, you do more with it. You're like, what else can I do to contribute to the Bitcoin community? They build businesses around Bitcoin, educate others, just even talking about it with other people that you encounter day to day. These are the people who no longer see Bitcoin as just an investment, but as the future of money itself. And that's where true freedom lives. How do you get there? What's the best way to get there? Well, you just keep climbing, keep fighting, one step at a time, one decision at a time. So if you're wondering how to get through this Bitcoin journey and how to improve, remember this, like just to sum it up. It's not about shortcuts, it's about steps, even baby steps. So staying curious, you just keep learning, you hold through the down times, protect what you own, and think generationally. Every step that you are taking with this journey gets you closer to freedom, whether that's financial freedom or freedom from the same old mindset that you've always had. Either way, it's a great thing. What stage are you in right now? Drop it in the comments. I'd love to know. If this video helped you, make sure to subscribe to hear more about Bitcoin.